Yuki Tsunoda just made a statement that left everyone speechless. After testing the RB21 on the simulator, the Japanese revealed something that could completely change the narrative around Red Bull. Up until now, the dominant discourse has been one. The RB21 is a difficult single-seater to drive, an extreme car designed to adapt only to Max Verstappen's style. But Tsunoda has denied all this. It's not as difficult to drive as everyone thinks. With this sentence, he opened a whole new scenario. If the car is not that complex, then why was Liam Lawson fired so quickly? And why has Red Bull had so many problems with the second seat in recent years? There is something more beneath the surface. But first, we need to look at the bigger picture. The seat next to Verstappen has become something of a curse. Since Daniel Ricciardo left Red Bull, no driver has managed to stay in that role consistently. Gasly, Albon, Perez, and now Lawson. They have all failed. But why? It has always been said that the problem was the car. A car designed specifically for Max, difficult for anyone else to handle. However, if Tsunoda was able to adapt so easily, then that changes the matter. And this is where another key element comes into play: Honda. The Japanese manufacturer is about to separate from Red Bull, and the Suzuka Grand Prix will be the perfect stage to celebrate this partnership with a special livery. But how much did Honda influence the promotion of Tsunoda? There are rumors that his move to Red Bull was not only due to his performances, but also to a strong political push from the Japanese giant. This would explain why, after only 2 races, the team decided to give Yuki a chance, leaving Lawson aside. Helmut Marko confirmed that Red Bull needed a driver who could give clear feedback on the development of the car. This suggests that the team was not satisfied with the information provided by Lawson. But is this really the case? Or is it just an excuse to justify a decision already made? Tsunoda, on the other hand, knows very well that this is his big chance. He is in his 5th season in Formula One and has shown constant growth. If in the first seasons he was considered too impulsive and prone to error, now he is a more mature driver, capable of making the most of opportunities. But will it be enough to convince Red Bull to keep him in 2025? Because there is another big problem on the horizon, and it directly concerns Max Verstappen. The 4-time world champion is not at all happy with the direction that Red Bull is taking. The performance of RB21 is not what he expected, and according to some rumors in the paddock, Verstappen has an exit clause in his contract that would allow him to leave the team if the car is not competitive. If this clause were to be activated, Red Bull would suddenly find itself without its star driver. And this is where Tsunoda's role becomes even more interesting. If Verstappen were to actually leave, who would take his place? Would Red Bull look to external talent, perhaps trying to snatch Lando Norris from McLaren? Or, paradoxically, could Tsunoda find himself catapulted into a role that until a few months ago seemed unthinkable? Everything will depend on his performances this season. The real challenge begins now. Suzuka will be the first crucial test to understand if Red Bull has made the right choice. The Japanese driver will have the crowd on his side. He will race in front of his fans, and he will have the chance to prove to everyone that he can compete at the highest level. But will a positive race be enough to secure his future? Probably not. To stay at Red Bull, Tsunoda will have to prove that he can consistently beat his rivals and bring important points to the team. And there is another detail that could play in his favor: the technical crisis of Red Bull. The departure of key figures such as Adrian Newey and Rob Marshall has put the team in a very complicated position. It is no coincidence that McLaren's performance improved precisely at the time Marshall moved to the Woking team. And if Red Bull can't fill these gaps, their dominance could be seriously threatened. At this point, it all comes down to one fundamental question: is Tsunoda really the right man for Red Bull? Does he have the speed, mentality, and consistency to be the ideal second driver alongside Verstappen? Or will he end up like everyone else, burned out by the pressure and replaced within months? But there is one last thing to consider. If Verstappen leaves Red Bull, could Tsunoda become the team's first driver? This is a hypothesis that until recently seemed absurd, but in the world of Formula One, everything can change in an instant. What is certain is that the future of Red Bull is more uncertain than ever. With Verstappen unhappy, with an ongoing technical crisis, and with a second seat always unstable, the team must find a solution as soon as possible. Tsunoda now has a golden opportunity to prove that he is part of this solution. But he will have to do it quickly, because patience has never been a strong point at Red Bull. What do you think? Is Tsunoda really the right driver to partner Verstappen? Or is he just another temporary choice destined to fail? Write it in the comments, and if you like this video, put a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. Thanks, see you next time.